What does New York City prove to us in America? It's not the fact that this guy's a socialist and that he is going to end up probably being the mayor of, New York City, the biggest city in America. There's something underlying that's even bigger because he has support, massive support nationally. What does that mean and how does that affect us? We're going to discuss that today. Also, we're going to talk about how we actually can solve the problem, how we truly can solve America's biggest issues. It's very, very simple. And we're going to discuss that literally in the first few moments of this video. And then lastly, we're going to talk about really the solutions for the prepper. We talk about grid collapse all the time. Texas just came out with something they're going to do with the data centers. It proves the fact that our grid is very vulnerable. Also, you thought that you would not be a computer? You're going to be blown away at how they're mutating a computer with brain cells of a human. We thought it couldn't happen. We are literally looking at Terminator. Wow, crazy. Let's dive into these stories and a few more. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you for being here on this humid day. You see, that's why this camera always fogs up. It really is not because any other reason other than we live in the humid south of Mississippi. It's kind of like the cat. When I go somewhere, the cat just shows up. I don't know what it is. So now let's jump into the video of today. Now, thank you again for being here. We're humbled by that. Remember, make sure you literally are subscribed to this channel, Life with Kobe Mack and Life at the Farm, all three channels, because remember, we're doing a giveaway with a solar battery backup. We talk about grid collapse, we talk about power being out, we talk about prepping. Alternative energy is a big deal, and we're going to be giving that away free of charge, $1,000 option when it comes to a battery bank. So we can't wait to do that, and we'll show that in the next few days. Now, let's jump into the stories. First, let's talk about New York and what it actually means for America. Not because we're New York City. I love when people are like, well, we don't live there, Kobe. Why does it matter? Here's why it matters. Did you know that 96% of Democrat leadership, politicians, along with the leaders of the establishment of the Democrats, has come out in complete and utter support of Zoran, of the guy actually becoming New York mayor. Now let me kind of get you into where he's standing. He just came out with new policies. He's against all billionaires. Now again, most people say, well, billionaires shouldn't have that much money anyway. Do you realize the amount of stuff that billionaires are doing and the jobs that they're making? You don't have to like them, but to be honest with you, if someone makes money, why is it the prerogative of the government to say they've made too much? It's not. Now, do I believe the government should subsidize it? Absolutely not. I believe it should be absolute free choice in capitalism. Meaning, if someone wants to buy this thing, great. If someone doesn't want to buy this thing, great. I'll be honest with you. And you can get mad at me for saying this. Without things like Walmart, without things like Amazon, without bigger box stores, even though we don't like their policies, a lot of Americans would actually be in worse condition. Just being completely honest. I'm not a proponent for it, but to be honest with you, Amazon just put a hub in about an hour away from me. They're going to be providing thousands upon thousands of jobs at very good income. I think it was like $20 an hour, $25 an hour for a start off. That's really good income for Mississippi. So you may not like them, but they are providing jobs. Now, why do I bring that up? Because if the government gets to the point where it says, well, billionaires shouldn't have billions. What about the neighborhood comment he made that he said, this neighborhood, these white neighborhoods should pay more. Did you know those affluent neighborhoods he was talking about were people that made just 6 figures? Now you're like, Kobe, 6 figures is a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But do you think that those people should be paying more just because they've been successful at being a banker or being a nurse practitioner or being a doctor or whatever it may be, being a business owner? It's not fair to just take from one group of people and give to the other. Now, here's the kicker for that. I have somebody that's very near and dear to me. She's a family member. Healthy, softball player. Worked out. Very, very active. She had a brain bleed. She's in her 30s, and she lives in a nursing home. Struggles talking. Struggles focusing on you. Do I believe my tax dollars should go to take care of her? Absolutely. And anyone like her. We as a nation should be taking care of people who need help. Disability, Social Security, Medicaid, absolutely. Food stamps even. I believe there is a purpose for that, and I'm wholeheartedly wanting to give to it. Give you another idea. I have a friend that I went to school with when I was a kid. His little brother, 32 years old, just had to have a massive heart transplant because one of his valves wasn't working. He didn't do anything other than live his life. He wasn't sick. He didn't abuse it. Do I believe that my tax dollars should go to pay for those kind of people? Absolutely. So when Democrats say, well, we need to help the ones among us, absolutely, I believe that. But you know what? The other day I went to a restaurant, me and my wife. We had to go to Jackson to shop at this store, and we only go about once a month up to Jackson. Kid you not. We go, I said, I'm going to take you out. Let's go to a nice place. Now, we're just going on lunch date. We're not talking about like some high-end bistro. I mean, we're in shorts and rain jackets. But it's a nicer lunch. On the window of this place in this higher-end affluent neighborhood, it says, we accept EBT cards. Now, do I believe that someone with EBT card should not be able to go eat? I didn't say that. But what I'm saying is we as a nation have come in now and embraced this guy, especially Democrats, to say his policies, meaning we should tax the people who's been successful to give to other people and give them what they want. There's been the most complaints against Robert Kennedy and against FDA lately to say that people with EBT cards, food stamps, should not be able to buy, chips, Doritos, and Cokes and things like that. Well, to be honest with you, if you are in need, in true need, you're not worried about Cokes, Doritos, and Dr. Peppers. You're worried about feeding your children. You're worried about making sure that you can make ends meet. So the whole purpose of him and pushing this way is not because he believes in helping the little guy. Name one city that's under Democratic rule that's actually thriving. Let's talk about Kensington and Philadelphia area. It looks like a third world country. Let's talk about San Francisco, how people are getting ran out of there because of the dangers there. Do you know they're putting in a new corporate tax in some of these big cities in California because all the tax base is moving out, so they're going to overly tax people to take care of all the people living on the streets? And do you understand? This New York City mayor of Push, he's wanting to open the jails. He's wanting for mass migration. He's also wanting to tax those neighborhoods. He's also wanting to put an extra tax on businesses. He has also said, listen to this now, he also said that there should not be a Christian-leaning part of America. Now, this is the same guy that absolutely is getting pushed and supported by just about every Democrat. It said that 96% of Democrats would support him. Is this what America has become? A socialist communist nation that is not looking for morals and Christianity, that's not looking for, hey, capitalism, let's make sure that if you think that you can make money and you believe you have something that you can make money on, that you should have that right and that people should be able to buy it. He's against those kind of things. He's against people trying to make money. He wants to have the grocery stores owned by the cities. Now, is the problem New York City? Yeah, but actually it's the problem of the Democratic movement and even the establishment government. They're wanting to make sure you're dependent enough to always find them as your Superman, as your Batman, as your superhero. That is absolutely wrong. So when I say that he shouldn't tax billionaires or he shouldn't, want to make sure everybody's taken care of, that's not what you're missing the point. What he's actually wanting is a full dependency on the government. And are you wanting that full dependency? Are you wanting every part of your life to be fully dependent on the government? That's why I absolutely love this $1,000 plan for this Trump administration to push for babies to have that as a start incentive until they're 18 for people to grow money. For every baby born to have $1,000 in their name to go into the Dow Industrial Index or to the S&P, this is brilliant. You know why? Because it gives people a leg up chance in a capitalist society to where they choose what to do with that money, not the government doing it for them. Now, what we don't want to see is it happen like Social Security where people can rob it and the government can rob it. We don't want to see that. But what we want to see is free market, capitalism, Christianity, our values to be threadbare. And what this guy in New York City and the Democrats are absolutely supporting of is mass migration. Literally open the prisons, no capitalism, and tax everyone to give to everyone else. This is absolutely a failed policy for America. But now, before we go any further with the stories, I want to tell you about today's sponsor. My dad just turned 65, or literally turning 65 this week, the 1st of July. My mom is right behind him. They've been bombarded bombarded with Medicare supplements, about Medicare, how to get on them. He has been on the phone trying to figure out the best plans. Should he buy this plan, this part? What should he do? We've had calls with insurance companies. I mean, he has literally had meetings upon meetings. Well, truth be told, there's an answer. Chapter. I started digging and trying to find the absolute best plan for not only my parents, but for everyone that is going through this time. Remember, when we start getting older, our income's not as strong as it used to be. Also, we tend to be kind of bamboozled with stuff. The Department of Justice recently filed a massive fraud complaint against biggest Medicare brokers in the country. Why? Because the allegedness of steering seniors, just like my parents, into certain plans just to line their pockets, not for the best plans, just for the ones that profit them the most. So when I started looking, I found Chapter. They're different. They're the only advisors that search all plans across the country that best fits you, your doctor, your plan, your prescriptions, and most of all, your needs. They advocate for you and not the insurance companies. Now here's the thing. It's absolutely free of charge. The people who call and use Chapter save upwards of $1,100 and or more, hundreds and thousands of dollars a year. All because they're working for you and finding the best plan for you. If the average person saves $1,100, think about that. How much money would that give you extra a month to do the prepping, to do the needs, to do the savings, to help your children, grandchildren, to be secure? My parents are actually working with Chapter right now. Literally, call them. Use this number below within a simple phone call, 20, 30-minute phone call. Not only is it free, F-R-E-E, it allows you to save money and know that you're getting the very best plan. So if you're on Medicare now, or you're planning to be very soon, do not miss this opportunity to call them. I promise you, you will not be disappointed in this call. And again, you don't have to buy anything. That's the beauty of it. It's free. Check with Chapter today. Phone number below, also link in the description. I promise you, this is one of the best moves that you'll ever make. Now, we talk about the problems we have. And just like the first problem with New York and the Democrats kind of pushing, the establishment, really Republicans and Democrats pushing all these policies. Let's just talk about a few solutions. Very, very simple. We're going to talk on the national side, but we're also going to talk on the personal side. I want you to listen to what this gentleman said. He said, you want no waiting room in emergency rooms. You want cheaper housing. You want less traffic. You want cheaper insurance for your car insurance. We need to deport people that's here illegally. It says that the government and the subsidizing of this and the cost of the homes, the housing, the cars, the loss of jobs, illegal immigration has a big part of that. Now here's something else. You want a solution on how to make sure that you're not piling up debt? We need better congressmen that's wanting to do single line item bills. It may not happen, but you know how you can solve that? You know what I've learned a long time ago? I can't solve the nation's problems, but I can solve my problems. So it's the same way when I said you want cheaper insurance for your car, then quit buying the brand new car and buy an older car. You want the cheapest way to get a car, quit buying a new car and buy a used car. You want the best way to save money weekly, you say I'm not going to drink this $4 or $5 Frappuccino or latte, and we start making coffee at home. You want to know the best opportunity to save money, you cut up the credit cards. Now, I know that sounds so stupid and so frivolous, but a lot of times on here, I'll say these things about buying, and people say, we can't afford it. And then I'll say this, well, are you eating out every week? I work with a bunch of guys. I go to a daily job every day. I do this full-time with YouTube, but I also have a full-time job. And every day I pull up, and I own my business. Every day I pull up in the oldest automobile. I never go out to eat unless I'm taking my wife on a lunch date, and that's something that I honestly believe that is good for a marriage. And we don't go to the high-end bistros or nothing like that. We just go to a small little spot where we can sit and chat. Other than that, I have staff that drive up in newer vehicles, and they literally eat out almost every meal. They wonder why they don't have the money. They wonder why budgets get tight. It may be because of the habits. Now let's go back to the national side. If we want to change the things nationally, we have to elect people that's going to actually do that. If you're electing the same Congress and Senate that's been the same Congress and Senate, and they're going to tell you they're going to do something better next time they go to Washington, but they've been there for 20, 30, 40 years, I'm sorry, you're getting bamboozled. Now let's go back to the local side. If you think that you're going to all of a sudden get rich quick, or you're going to make piles of money, but you're still doing the same old habits, and you're eating out all the time, you're buying high-end cappuccinos, you're literally living on soft drinks instead of water, what you're realizing is you're blowing money frivolously, and you're not going to change the situation that you live in. We can blame a lot on deporting illegals. We can blame a lot on big business, raising the prices. We can blame a lot on Congress for not helping us save more money. The costing, more regulation, more tax. I agree wholeheartedly there. Our problem definitely is Congress. But maybe the biggest problem is back at home. What I've learned, if we can get on budget and live below our means, something so seamless, something so simple, something so boring, something that's absolutely that's not getting us rich quick. It's not about getting rich quick. It's not about talking about just the problem. The solution to a lot of the problems that we're having is just simply living below our means and understanding that we cannot blame our problem on everyone else. If we would just learn to say, you know what, we see the problem, here's the solution. Like for instance, Texas sees they have a grid problem. Well, they just wrote a new bill that says, if we see the grid starting to have problems, we're going to cut the data centers off because they're pulling too much current. They're pulling too much problem. He didn't say he'd cut your neighbor off. He said we'd cut some of the other parts of the grid off, like the data centers. Now, could that be a problem? Yes. So what they're trying to do, though, is say we have a grid issue. We need to fix our grid. But until we fix our grid, we're going to go ahead and say we need to cut some of these data centers off if the grid gets tight, instead of cutting, your 70-year-old neighbor off when it's hot outside. Okay, so there was a problem, and now there's a solution. Let's talk about what Florida just did. Florida just said, look, we see that the property tax has gotten crazy because everybody's moving to Florida because everybody likes Florida over California, New York, and so forth. But he says the prices are astronomical. Also, the insurance is astronomical because they live in a hurricane and flood zones. So what DeSantis has come out and said, look, if we would just cut property tax, it would save Americans and really Floridians a ton of money if they live here. He's coming up with a solution for the problem. You see how that happens? Now let's go back to the Democratic plan, and let's go back to the Rhinos plan and the Republican establishment plan. Most of them don't want to do anything to help you. It's kind of like the first story with Zoran. He's not addressing the problem. He's just trying to mask the symptom. The problem is people have no money. The problem is people think the problem is the government. So then, therefore, instead of teaching people better education, teaching people about money, teaching people the right way is actually to be successful, to work hard, instead he would rather mask it by giving you more. That is what government has done, is if they can make you dependent, and if they can make you see the problems, then they become the solution. All the while they made the problem. So here's my goal. What I wanted to do really is not only talk about problems, I want to talk about solutions. If we really want to change the way America does business, we got to quit electing the people. We've got to become more wise in who we're electing. And we also got to start at the home level. We have to start at our home, make our home strong, resilient as it can be. Then we start working on our mayors, we start working on our cities, we start working on our states, and then we start working nationally. If we really want to change, we've got to get out of this mindset that government's the answer. It's actually back at our home. When we start being wise and we start making better decisions, we'll start electing better people. And overall, things will start changing. Now, that really was not part of the video. I just want to make sure that we understand that a lot of times people will say, well, Colby, all you do is talk about problems and all you talk about doing is buying. That's absolutely not what I'm talking about. I see the problems, and really the way to fix it is we need to become more wiser. When we become more wiser, not only do we get wiser at home, we build a better family structure, but we start electing better people. When we start doing that, change starts happening. Look at Texas, look at Florida. Mississippi's had a lot of great changes too. Donald Trump's doing great. But to be honest with you, until we change the whole bureaucratic class, the congressmen, get them out of those career politicians who's gotten filthy rich off you, then nothing will change. We have to be wiser. And part of being wiser is not just starting with Congress. It's starting back at our homes, making wiser decisions at our homes. And that helps us make better decisions overall. Well, I went on that tangent a long way. But the whole point of saying like self-help, I'm not one of those people that believe that you can just everybody get rich and everybody's going to live successful. It's just slowly being smart with money, being smart with your family, loving your wife, loving your children, devoting time to them. And when you start being good stewards with what I think God gives us, I think we'll be better. Do I believe that the Democrats have a plan with the socialists they're pushing? No, I don't. And actually, it scares me to death because most Democrats are supporting him, which means that most cities will become this. Most congressmen on the Democrat side will become this because they believe this is the new plan. Let's go full-on socialist. It's happening. Pay attention to those stories. Now let's jump to the last story, and this is something that's a pretty big deal that I think we act like it's in the dystopian movies, but it's actually happened. This is from Zero Hedge. It says, meet the dystopian startup making biological computers from human cells. This is some scary stuff. You talk about AI, you talk about the dangers of becoming like a computer. I mean, like we talked about this with Neuralink and things. Listen to this. This picture right here, I'm going to show it to you. It's kind of weird looking. It just looks like a little device like you'd see probably at a hospital. It says, picture this being the future of computing. Don't just mimic human thinking. Not just AI thinking like a human, but their power actually is from human brain cells. The future is taking shape at Cambridge, England lab, where groundbreaking devices called CLI is blending biological things of a human and technological things of a machine, and they're making it in one. It says this shoebox-sized machine houses 200,000 lab-grown brain cells wired to silicon circuits, creating a biological computer that actually is turning heads to make this computer think like a human. Does that not absolutely scare you? That we're literally making computers have thoughts, emotions. That is scary because what they're going to do is start making decisions for themselves. Has anybody seen Terminator? Has anybody seen iRobot? Has anybody seen these dystopian themes, of movies? And I know people laugh when they're saying, "Oh, that's all fake." They're literally testing this, spending billions of your dollars and billions of the world's dollars on building technology to where a human and a robot become one. Elon Musk said this last week that he has built superhuman capabilities with sonar, with radar, to where people that have the Neuralink device with their eye setting, they literally can almost see through clothing and walls. Does that not blow your mind? Did you know they said quantum computing could get bank accounts, could get information of yours, could break cryptology, which is crypto, the form of Bitcoin? So if we're building these supercomputers, whoever runs these supercomputers, whoever runs these AI devices, whoever runs these robotic-style human brain cells could literally rule the world. Peter Thiel, who I do not like Peter Thiel, but he made a comment last week I thought was very big. He said, whoever basically builds this technology, these kind of things, these supercomputers, these superhuman capabilities, will be over the world. We'll build the centralized one world government that everybody is scared of. And they're literally designing it right now. But wouldn't the world just be simpler if humans actually ran the world and not computers? I just think that we're missing the boat so much that we're looking for gratification, we're looking for convenience, we're looking for safety, we're looking for simplicity, we're looking for ease, that we're willing to give up freedoms for it. I think one day we're going to look back, it may be 10, 15, 20 years from now, but one day we're going to look back and say, we probably shouldn't have built those computers. We probably shouldn't have built those AI robots. We probably should have just done stuff on our own instead of trusting AI to do it. We probably shouldn't have trusted that person because he built this and now he rules the world. We probably shouldn't have done that because now this government has pretty much ruled over us. We probably shouldn't have put all our money on digitized currency because now they pretty much rule over us. That's how serious these conversations are fixing to get in the next coming years. Everybody's pushing you to crypto. Everybody's pushing you to more quantum computing. Everybody's pushing you to trust the computers, to trust AI. What we're doing is actually just sealing our own fate and dependency on these machines. Kind of like the first story. It's funny how this horseshoes back around. Government is trying to build a dependency. Look at the mayor of New York City that's going to end up winning the seat. He's pushing for absolute government control, and people are embracing it. Well, at the same time, we horseshoe all the way around and lose freedom again when we give all this technology, all this power, all this ease and comfort and convenience to the AI models, the superhumans, the supercomputers. It's the same thing. We're being dependent on a system. What I try to prove in the middle of this is the solution is always the family. The solution is always independence. The solution is always good stewardship. Guys, we appreciate you so much for watching. God bless.